Welcome to the Nitpicking Nerds and another episode of Grading Staples.
This time we're doing the red staples from Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, baby, bringing you daily content. Yeah, we're still doing that, so if you like it, subscribe. If you enjoy us as people, you can go to the Patreon and help us support the channel. And then also, there's a link in the description. Takes you to TCG Player. If you buy cards through that link, we get a kickback on the order, but you spend no extra money. But we're not going to waste your time. What's the video? What are we doing?
The video is we're looking at the top 30 most played cards on EDHrec. We're calling them staples because, I mean, they're in the most decks. They're pretty much staples. Enough people are playing them that we can call them staples. But if you're looking and you're after this list going, why wasn't X on the list? Why wasn't Y on the list? Well, the simple answer is it wasn't in the top 30 most played red cards on EDHrec. We're not handpicking these. We're simply going to EDHrec, taking the highest ones because honestly, if we take what we call staples, they're all going to be A's and B's.
Yes, we're just giving you our opinion on all of the red staples, the first 30, and those opinions are going to be topped off by a letter grade. Obviously, the description is more important than the letter grade, but it's just going to help you kind of remember what we're saying. So A, that's cream of the crop. It's one of the best cards in its role. Often, they're auto-includes. Sometimes they're irreplaceable, like Soul Ring, Demonic Tutor, Rhystic Study, those types of cards. B's, staples that will make a lot of decks or very strong cards that require a little bit of synergy. But once you have the synergy, it's one of the best cards in your entire deck. Lightning Greaves, Swan Song, Heroic Intervention, a couple examples of that. C, cards that are strong but often replaceable unless they have good synergy with the deck. So they start getting cut as you make improvements to your deck. These are like the cards we always talk about. Cultivate, Terminate, that level.
Phyrexian Arena.
Right. Short videos are like the C's. D's are cards we're generally not going to include in most decks unless you have a really good excuse, like you're building with a collection or you have a heavy theme or it really goes with your deck. Or just decent cards that are easily outclassed. This is like Merciless Eviction, Putrefy, cards that we might talk about, but it's less interesting than the C's because there's more of like, oh, should you cut this or should you not? These are like mostly cut. And F's, they're unplayable. They're cards we just actually would not play. Very rarely we'll put a card in F. These are like Red Elemental Blast, Decimate, Explosive Vegetation, just not ever going to be played anymore.
Yes. So rundown of what these, if you need a quick remembering thing, A, auto-include, B, build around, C, cuttable, D, don't bother, F, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Another way to think about the grades is the lower grade we give it, the more of an excuse or synergy you need to actually play it.
Exactly. So if we give a card an F, that card's not unplayable. Say, let's just do, because we're not talking about CEDH at all.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. So we've mentioned this before, mention it again, Red Elemental Blast, an F. But here's a quick thing to think about. If your whole meta is always blue decks, that card's going to overperform every time. You have the reason to thumbs up. The card's going to work great for you.
Yeah, no card is literally unplayable. We're still going to give cards Fs, as in generally unplayable. There's no universe where any content creator can talk about the like 0.1% of decks.
Exactly.
It's not worth it.
Exactly. We're talking about overall what we think. Yeah, exactly. You said that what we're saying about the cards way, way more important than the grade. The grade is just a cherry on top to show you what like our final thought is, basically where we would rank it compared to everything else. Not talk about CDH, but budget cannot be considered. Obviously, there are cards on here that they're this high on the played list because of budget, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but we're still going to give them bad grades because if we take budget out of the equation, they're bad cards. And I want to mention one thing. A pluses are going to get a new reward, the Randy Savage Cream of the Crop Award.
That's a good award.
It's a good award.
And we've retroactively awarded all A pluses.
Yes, award. All A pluses before. So if you're an A plus, you get the Randy Savage Cream of the Crop Award. I'm sure we will make some stupid image to go here. I found a while back. You know what? Tidbit. Too much.
Yeah, too much.
Too much.
We're on the video
Into the video. First card. Well, it's Chaos Warp. Great card. I actually play this. This is very similar to Beast Within and Generous Gift, but I think the downside is slightly higher. So I moved it down one, not a whole grade, but like A- to B+.
Yeah, it's really efficient. It's not, like if you're a 5-color deck, I don't think it's good enough to still make it in. It's not one of the best of the best of the best spot removal. Largely, though, I think people are way too scared of this card. It's just good. It does give you like a, what, is it like a 1% chance that you get owned or your spell had no effect or anything? It is worth it. Yeah, so, I promise you. Half the time, the downside is nothing. It's not like they always get a 3/3. Sometimes it's like, oh, top card of your deck's Cantrip. Okay, doesn't matter.
Any creature that costs less mana, that's usually going to be great for you, especially if it's only like a 3-drop or lower. Who cares? That's what you're most likely going to say. This can hit any permanent type, which is great. Right can't enter enchantments. If you're in a mono red deck, this is your only way to interact with enchantments. It just gets rid of anything. And that's what's really the strongest part about this card. Yeah, there is a downside. It can backfire. Be wary. But it also has the upside of like, hey, maybe I want to just hit my own thing because it's my only chance to win. And that's a plus to this card. It's not a negative. I mean, you have a Chaos Warp in your hand, you're going to die. Maybe there's something in your deck that if it lands up on the battlefield, you win. Go for it.
Yeah, maybe you hit 1% shot at an Elishnorn that you would have 0% shot with if it was another spot removal spell. Mm-hmm. Also, people are absolutely underestimating the fact that this just things the red can't do. Red's not even that good at spot removing a big creature, and this will do that every time because it's just a color pie break.
Yes, exactly. Card is very good. Next, we have Blasphemous Act. That gets the Randy Savage cream of the crop award.
A+.
This is one of the best board wipes. This and Toxic Deluge, they're on another level compared to every other board wipe.
The investment is a joke. It's basically 1 mana every time.
So often.
Even if it's 1, 2, or 3 mana every time, which, yeah, if the board needs to be wiped, it probably is. It wipes everything, no questions asked. It won't take care of indestructible creatures. I'm not asking that much of my 1 mana board wipe. I don't care what it does.
I've seen creatures outgrow this very rarely, but that is the downside of this card. Sometimes a creature can get out of its range, but the fact is you cast it for 1 mana, so you cast it for 1 mana way more than a creature gets out of its range. Think about that.
No, the creature out of the range thing I don't accept as a downside because it's also an upside. Doesn't that just cancel it out? What if I have a 14/14? I get to hit somebody with it.
That's also true. Yeah, that's fair because I've had turns where I have Blasphemous Act and it's only going to cost me 1 mana. I was playing my Godzilla deck and I went Ronez, double all my creatures' powers, play Blasphemous Act. None of my stuff dies. And I get to just attack that's ridiculous afterwards.
Yeah, we don't need to say too much about Blasphemous Act because it's just fantastic. So
exactly.
It's an A+, and you should always play it. Next is Faithless Looting. It's your classic draw 2, discard 2, but when you cast it, you go down a card, and then it has flashback, so you can mill it or discard it, and you get the value. We just have this sitting at like a solid C. It's definitely cuttable. It's not an auto-include by any sense, any stretch. I don't even think your deck needs to be fast or be able to get the card back. That's when I'm looking at this, is when I can get the card back somehow.
Exactly. I think mono red, where you might struggle with card draw, having things you want to throw in your graveyard, things along those lines are when you want to play this card. But ultimately, I'm not interested in most decks because I'm not interested in losing card advantage for nothing. There is upsides to this card, and yeah, this card is an all-star outside of the EDH format, and it's an all-star in certain decks in EDH. The decks that it's good in, it's an A in. I mean, if this card is made for your deck, it's going to be very strong.
Yeah, it's going to be better than a cantrip. I mean, if you're discarding anger with this, you're living the dream. So if you have an anger type deck, that's one of the cards I think that instantly justifies something like Faithless Looting.
Yeah, exactly. Not super excited about it. I'm going to cut it from almost all of my decks, but once in a while, it's just going to be awesome. Next, Randy Savage.
This card good?
Yeah, this card is one of the Randy Savage, this is top 15 cards in the whole format, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Dockside Extortionist cards. Bonkers. I mean, I don't even want to talk about this card too much because, again, we've mentioned it time and time again on this channel, and we'll mention it right now. Goes infinite with a ham sandwich, is the weirdest ritual ever, the most abusable ritual ever, and that they stay around. It's not just a regular old ritual. You play this 2-mana thing, the treasures stay on the battlefield. This card is silly.
Yeah, I think everybody knows, and I think it's more useful to just move on to another card.
Agreed. Randy Savage would say, oh yeah.
Next card's Vandalblast. This is a really efficient way to just wipe out every artifact you don't control, and it has the modal versatility of just being a 1-for-1 spot removal. It doesn't feel great, but I'm super glad that it's there because it saved me a million times.
Yes, this card's great. It is a very strong card. It depends on the deck. Where is your removal at? What colors are you in? That's the questions you start asking with Vandalblast. If I'm in white, no, I'm not interested in Vandalblast because I have Heliod's Intervention.
And Dismantling Wave.
Yeah, you have a ton of other things to destroy artifacts and enchantments. Now, if I'm in Grixis, I'm way more interested in this. Yeah, I'm gonna
come on over.
Exactly, but as soon as you move into green and white, I'm not interested in just hitting artifacts anymore at that point because I can interact with enchantments on the same level. But if you're in any Grixis combination,
it's a staple.
It's a great card.
It's like a must-have.
Exactly, yeah. The card advantage this card can generate is just off the charts. You can get a 6-for-1 super easily.
I don't think it's on here, but if this card's getting a little expensive, I think an easy 1-for-1 budget substitution is Byforce. That card's very good too.
Yeah, it's definitely not on here, and I don't know if it'll be on our future videos because I don't know where it sits on that list.
Doesn't really matter. I think that card's a good budget replacement. Gamble is like the only red tutor that exists, and we have it at like a B+. You go down a card. If the card you get wins, guess what? Doesn't matter that you went down a card. So kind of lean towards, if you're in a more aggressive, fast-paced like combo deck, you're going to want Gamble all day. Or if the card you fetch doesn't matter if it goes into your hand or graveyard, definitely play Gamble.
Yeah, if you're in a red-green lands deck, something that's going to be great is Life from the Loam. You can just get it. It doesn't matter if it goes to your graveyard. It doesn't matter if it stays in your hand. Whichever one it is going to be good for you. There's lots of cards like that where it's just like, it doesn't matter what I do with this as long as I get it from my deck out of my deck. That's all that matters.
Dread Return is another one I think of where you can probably cast it with 1 and then 4, or you hope it goes to the graveyard and you just cast it for free.
Exactly, yeah. So Gamble is a solid card. It just depends on what your deck is. I really want to have the extra advantage, or I love playing this as a fun substitution for overpowered tutors.
Yeah, this is a decent substitution for like Demonic Tutor if you're just kind of sick of that card. That's not really a testament to the power at all. It's just, hey, recommendation.
Yeah, I do exactly. Yeah, it's a B+ for power. It's not on the level of like Demonic Tutor, but I have removed. I think in my Tybalt deck, I don't play Demonic Tutor. I do play Gamble because I think it just adds a little bit more fun.
It's more interesting, and you're like, well, is that what they discarded a really good card? Is that what they tutored for? I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. I've definitely discarded the card I've tutored for many a times and gone, 1 mana entombed, but I didn't actually know it was entombing, so I got the wrong card. Uh-oh.
All right. Red Elemental Blast. We have it at F because we're not talking about CDH. If you're in CDH where every deck has to play blue, or if you're in a meta where every deck's playing blue and you want a metagame, which I wouldn't even really advise anyway, yeah, you can play Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast, which we're going to lump together. They're both Fs.
I want to mention, yes. So number 7 here and 9 for most played cards is Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast. It's Red Elemental Blast first at 7, and then 9 is Pyroblast. I just want to mention, the main reason we don't want these cards is we're not interested, the way we build decks and the way that we play EDH, we're not interested in a card that is going to be dead a percentage of the time. I don't ever want, just based on the table I sit at, if I sit down at the table and there is a chance I have a card that does nothing in my deck, yeah, I know I can loot this away. Yeah, I know that I can discard it. I know all that stuff, but I'm not interested. I'm personally not interested in that. Now, people like the thing about this card is the ceiling is super high. It is a super high ceiling, but the floor is too low for me, and I don't ever want to be at that point where I have a card that literally has no text in a matchup.
Yes, or I think one of them can be uncastable, and then one of them is castable. I don't care which one it is right now, particularly because they're both just Fs on the scale, and if you need it, that's very rare.
Yes, there are reasons.
Yeah, next, Deflecting Swat. This is a really, really good Magic card. They just printed a bunch of cards you can cast for free. All you got to do is play the format, and we're doing that. So this is an A- because it takes a spot removal spell, and you basically gain control of it. You switch the target to now the best thing you don't control.
Yeah, it's essentially it's a solid 2-for-1. It's pretty great. You basically take their spell and point it at the thing that you want the least. So you're going to get 2-for-1 every time with this card. No mana investment. So the great thing is they're never... These cards, even though they've been out forever, I still never see them coming. To this day, they catch me. Flawless Maneuver got me the other day. It's just like,
how do you play around it?
It's like I didn't even it's so hard. Like I can think a lot of the times I am really good at reading BZ. He's really good at using his mana efficiently, and because of that, I can read him. It's like, oh, that looks like Teferi's Protection. If I've ever seen a Teferi's Protection, that's a Teferi's Protection. And it's like, all right, I'll cast Teferi's Protection. But I can't do that when a card costs 0 mana.
You can't play around a 0 mana card. Because if they don't have it, you're giving up way too much.
Yeah,
way too. Like, all right, I need a board wipe, but he might have Flawless Maneuver, so I just won't board wipe. It's like, okay, you lose. You can't do that. Yeah. That's not a thing you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Deflecting Swat.
It's situational though. You have to have a target. You can't stop a board wipe with this. You can't stop any spell like the blue and the white ones. The black ones always got a target. This is like the hardest to cast other than Fog, which just isn't even that good.
Now this is a funny one because the floor is super low on this one, where you might not be able to cast it for a long time. But the ceiling is insanely high.
Oh, you killed your own creature. That was a mistake. You shouldn't have done that.
And it costs 0 mana. This card, I if this card costs even 1 mana, I'm not interested. 0 mana.
It's the free.
Free is what just takes us from whatever. Because there's a million reverberate type
redirects, and we're not huge fans of any of them.
Yeah, they're all pretty butts in my opinion, but this one, no, it's free, so it's amazing.
Yeah, it's misdirection.
Yeah,
they reprinted misdirection.
Free. Next is Thrill of Possibility. This just gets a D-. It
doesn't card draw. It's card filtering. You cannot spend a ton of time in Commander just card filtering. You got to go up in cards. You got to get cards where they need to go. So maybe if you have no better way to put cards in your graveyard, but there are so many colorless ways to mill and discard that are just more efficient than this.
Yeah.
Hardly ever. I'm not going to give it an F because the effect is okay, and some decks do want it.
Yeah, I'm not super interested. If I'm not mono red, I'm definitely off of this card immediately.
Yeah, that's another thing we always take into consideration. It's why, Vandalblast is a B. Like in mono red and Boros, mono red and like Grixis, it's like an A. But we have to look at all 5 colors. This is just talking about red. This isn't red only. It's red cards.
Yeah, and red only, this is like a C. It's cuttable, but it's decent. But we're not red only. This can go in any deck that includes red.
Certainly shouldn't, but it can.
It can. You can put in the 5-color deck. I would not advise that at all.
I think you'll be generally disappointed by Thrill of Possibility. You're going to have to start copying it and getting triggers off Discard and Madness before I'm into Thrill of Possibility.
Very much agree.
Next is actually a card I've been impressed with over and over. It's Impact Tremors. It's not even that expensive. It's a common from like Dragons of Tarkir. B. Solid B. This is a way to go pay off your infinite ETBs or just a lot of them. It gives your creatures pseudo haste. It means every creature does something. They're all doing 3 damage, 1 to each opponent.
Yeah, this card is great. It's super solid. There's a card that is very similar to this, like a couple down, that we're going to get to. But this one is the second best option for this effect.
Certainly. And the best budget.
And yeah, it's still like $5. It's not super cheap.
That's an expensive comment. Although, I would say this is game for a reprint. At any second, a second just have this card.
Yeah, I mean, it's Impact Tremors. Anything. Like, give me... Oh, what's the Impact Tremor from in this set? Well, you see, there's Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This Prismari student really made a mess of this project.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could literally put it in any set, and I hope they do reprint it because it's a great card. I think it had one reprint, but I'm not positive.
Maybe a mystery booster.
Who knows? They're tough to keep track of. Next, Underworld Breach, B+. This card has a high ceiling to me, but I really don't want to play it unless I am comboing with it. I have tried it before. I have put it in decks. I'm not interested. It is a large setup cost. And then maybe you can combine like these Underworld Breaches, these Faithless Lootings, these Thrill Possibilities into something that makes a deck that I've not thought about. But in my experiences, even with cards decks that are discarding, I've not had success with this card. But it is an excellent combo piece. Like one of the best combo pieces we've gotten in the past like 3 years of Magic.
Yeah, I feel like it's very similar to Yawgmoth's Will. I made the mistake of going, Yawgmoth's Will is one of the best Magic cards, period. Like, because it just kind of is. And then I just threw it in some decks that had graveyard synergies, and it didn't do anything. It sucked. It was literally worse than like Unburial Rites, which isn't even a good card. And I'm like, what's happening? It's that if you are not aggressively comboing, this is like a terrible mid-range card.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. It's just. I think that if you want to play your Yawgmoth's Wills and your Underworld Breach, you have to be all in on focusing on using the card, and that's a huge deck building restriction. But if you do it, I think the card will perform like ridiculous. It might even win games a lot of times.
I really kind of want to build a deck with our super cool Burning Inquiry combo.
I like that.
It's so neat. And you just win with like Obstinate Familiar.
I've done it, but I mean, I've literally did that combo before, but with a different payoff.
Yeah, that combo was harder because we ended up fine-tuning it for the short.
Yeah, we did. We found ways to make it better.
All right, you can basically go off about this card. It's like one of your favorite cards.
Yeah, next to the Etali, it's a B-. This card isn't super special, but it is a super card advantage. You want ways to give it haste if you're playing it.
You almost need ways to give it haste.
Yeah, it's not going to survive many turns around the table. This card is very strong, and it gets you great card advantage, but it dies a lot. And it might be more of a C+. I might be giving it a B- on my biases, and I know I have a bias toward this card. Love it. Like, just an all-star to me, and it always will have a place in my heart because it does one of my favorite things in Magic, playing my opponent's cards.
It does it the best. It's one of the best ways to do it. Problem is, the 6-drop, sorcery speed, it's like the Grave Titan rule. You got to untap with it, and then what is it? It probably does something pretty good. It's just a 6-drop, and it's not going to find a home in a ton of decks. So I would say C+ or B-.
Yeah.
Depending on your power level.
Probably more of a C+. I think you make a great point. We bash on Grave Titan because I think people overrate it, but like it's probably like comparable to something like a Grave Titan.
It might be, yeah. It's cuttable, and it's hard to imagine too many decks that are like, give me Etali right now. You know, you have to be casting their spells, and that's already a loose synergy anyway. And it's like dinosaurs, okay, but
yeah, C+. I'm gonna go to C+. I'll move down from my B-.
All right.
I love this card so much, and honestly, I will play it. Like, this is something that like people seem to misunderstand about our channel, like because we bash a lot of cards. We play cards that we think aren't that great. Etali probably shouldn't be in almost any of my decks. I'll put it in almost any red deck because I love it.
Looking for excuses to play it. We have it in our Commander cube.
Yes, literally. If I can, like, I will make excuses for it. I'll be like, all right, I'll put this in because of this. Like, and if you want to do that with Grave Titan, you should. Don't listen to us bashing that stupid card.
Yeah. Next is a card that's very expensive. It's Wheel of Fortune. Not quite a budget card. It just discard everyone's hand, and then they all draw 7. This is mono red and like Boros card advantage, but you have to make up for the fact that it's card advantage for everybody else, which kind of puts you down on cards. But if you are fast, if you're casting this on turn 1 or 2 and just slamming it, yeah, it's amazing. If you are wheeling and taking triggers off discard and draw, it's amazing. And if you're going to stop them from drawing cards after they discard, also amazing.
You just need, you need some sort of synergies with this. Don't just throw it in your deck. I think a Wheel of Fortune becomes very bad if you just throw it in a random deck because ultimately you're not the one going to be getting most card advantage. And even if you are, say you go up 2 cards or whatever, and everyone else goes up 2 cards, well, you're not down. That's not good.
Negative exchange.
That's a negative exchange. You want to be taking the advantage of this the most. You want your hyper fast decks that everything's 1, 2, 3 drops. You're going to be emptying your hand super fast and then doing it, and like everyone's still got 6 cards in their hand. Well, you want to refresh, and it's actually a disruptive piece at that point because people build and make plays based on what's in their hand. So this card has very high ceiling. Just make sure you're not throwing it in any deck.
Yeah, I think if you're going to cast it on turn 1, 2, or 3, I wouldn't worry about the disadvantage because you just force them to mulligan. And I think the discombobulation and the total reset of whatever plan they had is worth, having them draw 1 or 2 cards. They might just have no lands in hand. They might just lose now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Next, the card I was mentioning before, it's Purphoros. This is a B+ compared to Impact Tremors at B. Purphoros is solid. It is one of the best effects like this ever. It just wins games so fast. The fact is, 20 triggers, which is making 20 creatures, is not a crazy impossible thing. No, it is a completely reasonable thing that you can just do in EDH. This card just wins and demands an answer, and demanding an answer, wait, it's indestructible. Okay, I have to answer that. Well, it's indestructible.
Yeah, it's indestructible. It can appear as your commander. Any creature that says play 20 creatures, you win, and as the game goes longer, the bar lowers itself naturally without you doing anything. Yeah, this card is tough. It is tough to beat a Purphoros, and I've lost too many of them. I've even lost games where I'm ahead, and it's like, yeah, the only thing they really have going on is Purphoros. Can't answer it, so let's hope I can just untap and kick their butt next turn. No, you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, their creatures only need to enter, so they have an army of chump blockers. They don't care. As long as they can keep themselves alive, they're going to keep draining you, and you're going to keep dying. This card is very strong. The ceiling is it's super high. The only restriction on this card is
creatures.
Really, not just creatures.
Tokens.
Yes, if you're tokens or a very, very high concentration of
aristocrats.
Creatures. Exactly. So you need to just be sure of that. Don't just Purphoros does this. Oh, I have a 25 creature deck. That's kind of a lot. No. This card will be dead for you too much. 50 creatures? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah. I'm in for Purphoros. He's awesome there.
I want a Purphoros as an enchantment and then like Living Death.
You know what card I think is underrated in mono red and is the Goblin with Echo. Mog War Marshal. I think that card is underrated. It makes 3 bodies for 2 mana. You can't get that really anywhere else. That card is great.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I agree. Even if I think I put that card in a deck. I've been nothing but impressed with it.
Yeah, I think I started casting it, and you're like, this is annoying.
That's like, why are you getting 3 bodies for 2 mana? That is an unfair rate.
Yeah. All right. Next, Magus of the Wheel. It's just Wheel of Fortune, but it's like 10 steps worse because it's a sorcery. Well, it's like a sorcery speed creature that sticks around as a creature for an entire turn, and then Wheel of Fortunes. Woof, it's a D.
I'm giving it a D.
Too much.
I'm being super generous. I think this card is awful. I think that the Maguses that need to untap are absolutely terrible. If this effect is relevant and going to impact the board, You have to untap with it now.
The softest target. It's a sitting duck.
It's a sitting duck. It's a creature. It's the easiest thing to remove in Magic. I hate these cards. I really don't like them. I think, yeah, it is a D because ultimately you can't, if you have all the synergies and you can take advantage of it, you have maybe a lot of haste. It's still like 50 mana.
How many spells with Suspend does see Commander play? Like 0? It's the same effect. It's like, well, they're going to see it coming for 4 turns. Just wait. No, you're going to get your face kicked in, or there's going to like, oh, I guess I'll deploy my board wipe now or something, because they could just see it. It's just not good for you to have them see it a whole turn in advance. And if you give it haste, you're not even cheating anybody. You've got like a 5 mana board wipe plus whatever you invested to give it haste. You're not cheating anything. That's like the going rate.
Yeah, exactly. This card is just, it's so unexciting, and I'm so far from ever. I won't play this card, but I see its potential. It's still like D. Don't bother most of the time.
All right, I think these next couple are going to be pretty quick because we've talked about something similar. Guttersnipe is a B-. It's the impact tremors of spell decks. As soon as your deck has a high concentration of spells, this thing's going to close games because it's 6 damage per spell.
Yeah, it's harder to take advantage of than the creatures because obviously it's easier to play creatures. It's easy. There's cards that make like 6 creatures at once.
Yeah. There's
not spells that cast 6 spells at once. Unfortunately, Storm doesn't work because maybe if this was printed now, maybe we'd get Magecraft on it, but which would be insane.
Yikes.
But this card if it had Magecraft, this would be in the B plus A minus range. But this card's super good still. B minus. Just great.
Well, there's still ways to cheat it. Mizzix Mastery says cast, so that's going to basically win the game right on spot.
Yeah, that's true. Mizzix Mastery, cast a copy. Which
that card's amazing.
Yeah, that is a very good card. Next, we have Mana Geyser. Got this at C+. You need synergies. I am very high in this card, but it doesn't go in every deck. You really need to... You have to have reasons to want to play it. You need... What are you going to do if everyone taps out and you can make 21 mana? You have to use that 21 mana, or else you're just not... Or else the card's not worth playing.
Yeah, I had it in I had it in a dragon deck where it's like Lathless has an activated ability. So if you have 10 extra mana, well, all right, suddenly that turns into like 15, 20 damage. And it's actually a useful way to spend the mana if you don't have anything else to do, or any like X cost that draws cards, like a Skull Clamp equip. You can just go insane with that. That's just not even fair at that point. We can move to the next one, which is I'm gonna read this and I won't even let Joe say anything because I don't think he cares too much. It's Cathartic Reunion. It's a D-. It's worse than Thrill of Possibility. It looks at more cards. It's just rummaging. We're not super interested. We already talked about that. What's next?
Yeah, I don't need to say anything about that. You're right. Anger, which works really well with all your Cathartic Reunions.
That's a good one.
Effects. Anger is pretty good. You got to have ways to get it in your graveyard, but as soon as you have the ways to get it in your graveyard, this card is good. Is it broken? No, not at all. But it is a good haste effect. You have to make sure you have a decent concentration of mountains, whether that be from having a ton of fetches that can get mountains or just...
2-color decks don't have to worry about it.
Two color, yeah, exactly. You're gonna draw a mountain almost every game, but if you have those mountains and you can put this in your graveyard consistently, sure, yeah, this card's very strong.
Anger is a lot scarier. It's a haste enabler that you can't remove with any spell. You have to exile their graveyard or exile Anger from it. It feels very good. I've been on the side of having it. It feels very safe. Like you're definitely in an advantageous position. Goblin Bombardment. It's an enchantment. It's a sack outlet, and it's a payoff. Not many sack outlets are also the thing that wins you the game. So it's a nice little double feature. So we have it at B because all your creatures are now converting to damage, and they can kill creatures, not just creature. It's creature or player.
I think this card is very strong. It's one of the... It's just like this underrated sack outlet that I feel like people overlook often. I mean, it's the 19 most played red card. It's not being overlooked too much, but I do feel like when you're building your red sacrifice deck, this is one of the most important cards. This is one of the best cards. This card is great, and I am a huge fan of it.
Yeah, when you compare it to the other sack outlets, especially in red, this is like head and shoulders above all of them.
It's like makeshift munitions. Like what? Compare it to makeshift munitions. You have to pay 1 and do 1 damage.
Same exact effect, but it's 1 every time.
Yeah, I don't care if you threw artifact staple on that other one.
That's the difference between going infinite and not going infinite.
Yeah, that card. Yeah, the card is. It's great. What's next?
Fire Diamond is next. I don't know how Fire Diamond ended up on the top 30 red cards. And if you check the white, blue, and black staple grading we did, those diamonds aren't on there. So we have this at F. We're never playing Fire Diamond. There's no excuse, really, even budget. I'm not interested in a tapped thing. Someday, I 100% guarantee this, they will print the untapped diamonds, and I will love them.
Yeah,
not this one.
I've been talking about that for. I'm mentioning that for a while.
We've talked about it for years.
We're just like, I don't get it. Why diamonds? We have signets are like better than diamonds. I mean, a Signet that taps for 2 different colors is better than a diamond that taps for 1 color, I think.
They printed Arcane Signet.
That's way better than
They're like, this is a design mistake. We're sorry.
That's way better than untapped diamonds. But give us diamonds. I want untapped diamonds. I don't care what fire. I want the play on it too. Give me change the word diamonds. Give me fire or something. I like when they do that. Mm-hmm. Next we have Reforge the Soul.
Another wheel.
It's a wheel. It's expensive. If you miracle it, yeah, it's got some upside. But again, the problem with that is when it's at its best is when you're miracling it, because that's when you're getting the least cost. But you can't set up for that because you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, you're going to have to like brainstorm into it and then go through effort to draw it.
I mean, if I'm in blue, I'm not touching this card.
I don't think so. You're going to need, it's a D because there's wheel decks. It goes in the wheel decks, and it goes maybe in a Madness deck too.
Did you mean to say bring stone? Bring stone it to the top?
No. It's the dumbest name. Oh, man. I did not get any joy out of that name.
I don't care. Tidbit, we'll talk about Modern Horizons because I'm excited about Modern Horizons.
Yes.
What's next?
Next would be Dualcaster Mage. This is a deceptively annoying card, I think, because when it enters, it copies a spell. That's a rare text on a card, which means you can clone it infinite times when you start stacking up like a heat shimmer on it. It's literally just Splinter Twin. So it'll come down, probably get you a card's worth, and then they have to kind of kill it because they don't know if they're going to get Splinter Twinned or not.
Yeah, this card's okay. I'm not like... I don't think this card's crazy.
It's low synergy.
I have it at C-. Exactly. It's low synergy. If you have a lot of combos with it, sure, yeah. I like this card in those decks. If you're comboing... I don't like leaving this up is one of the big issues.
It's tough.
If you're leaving 3 mana up and then there's no targets for a go-around, then you wasted 3 mana. And I'm interested in using all my mana as much as I can whenever I can. That's how you should play. I mean, that's one of the that's one of the first things they tell you when you start learning Magic. Use as much of your mana as often as you can when you can, because that's going to win you the most games.
Yeah, I think Arena tells you during one of the loading screens, if you have 2 different choices, generally the one that spends more mana is the better choice.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. That's literally perfect thought. So that's what the problem with this card is. I just don't like holding it up. It's good, and it has, again, high ceiling. If you're in the right deck, this card will combo and win. You can steal a game-winning spell, like maybe not an expropriate, but you can steal like a
Rise from the Dark
Realms. Yeah, where it's just like, oh, okay,
mine.
I get all the creatures, and then
you can have all the creatures after that.
Then yours resolves. Okay, you'll get nothing.
Nothing. Okay, cool, interesting. So wait, what if you like Dualcaster Mage? This is so off topic. What if you like Dualcaster Mage their thing, and then you like sacrifice Dualcaster Mage so that when it comes back, when yours comes back, you get to like keep copying it.
You could.
And you just go infinite with, you literally Dualcaster Mage infinite off their spell. Because you just keep copying it.
Okay.
That's goofy.
That's a silly way to go infinite.
All right. Comet Storm. This is like the go-to X spell because all you have to do is target 3 opponents. So you multi-kick and it's 4 generic. Then you just pay X and you deal that much to the opponents. Not going to deal damage to player or creatures. You're going to try to cast this X is 40 and just win.
Yeah, it's just a payoff for going super large mana. It's a B-. It's not an exciting card, but it gets the job done. As soon as you move into black, you don't need this because Torment Hellfire does this job about 40,000 times
10 times better.
Yeah, this card's fine, and I'm not excited to play it, but I know that there are definitely decks that need it, and I'm willing to put it in the B- range because it's one of the better options outside of black for your mana sink.
Here's your mana geyser. Mana.
Yeah, if you're going to make 40 mana, all right, kill you guys.
Yeah, what's late enough in the game? Sorry, we're just going to end right now.
Yep. Next we have Lightning Bolt D.
Lightning Bolt. And Commander?
Yeah, I am shocked that why is this so high? Why are so many people playing this?
I think it's just too beloved. Like Lightning Bolt is one of the most iconic Magic cards that will ever exist, and I think that just bleeding over to Commander, you don't need this. I mean, I'm looking at this and I compare it in my head to like a Braid, and it just makes me like, why would I ever?
Yeah, I'm just not super interested. The first thing hitting the face is going to be relevant about 1% of games.
0%.
It's 1. It's
0.1%.
I think
1's too high.
No, I don't think 1's too high. I think 1 in 100 games that you play.
I'll give you Face or Planeswalker. That's 1%.
Well, I think Face is relevant 1% of games. 1 in 100 games, a player goes below 3.
And then you're telling me that you want Lightning Bolt to finish them off?
Well, why not? I mean, it's just worth. I mean, I think that the card is it's it's fine. I mean, I'm not again
Disappointing.
Disappointing.
Mediocre.
But it will again. The one time you play Lightning Bolt and you bolt somebody's face to win, you're gonna feel great. I mean, how is that not gonna feel great?
You're gonna feel guilty.
How would you not feel great?
I don't know. I don't see any merit for Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt wins in other formats. Like I've had them. I played plenty of Jund. I've played Burn.
Changes a lot when they're at 20 life. I mean, they're 40.
It feels meh doing it in the other formats. You just go, I have Bolt. They go, okay, I'm dead.
I think it'll kill a lot of creatures. Like there's a lot of utility creatures that just die to this, and you'll find a target every game. I just think that I can't get to the point where I'd ever finalize a 100-card deck and go, Lightning Bolt belongs in this deck. It's just never going to happen.
It's tough. Yeah, it's super tough. That's why we have it at D. And maybe we're underestimating it. I've never put it in. I just can't bring myself to put it in. It just doesn't seem to fit. It's
never going to be the best option.
Its ceiling is so low. That's the issue with this card. It's like, sure, maybe it's always like C-.
Destroy a utility creature.
It's always going to do the C- thing. But
have you seen the other cards in my deck?
Yeah. Its ceiling is C.
Right.
Well, I'm not interested in that.
No thanks on Lightning Bolt. Jeska's Will, secretly the third best card from Commander Legends. Opposition Agent stole Jeska's Will Spotlight because this card is a rock solid A. It is close to draw 3 in red when you have your commander out. So you jump through a little tiny hoop and then you get a nice burst of card advantage. I've seen this. It's hard to predict, can be disappointing, but it's a nice, I'd say on average, it's probably a draw 2 for like 0.
It's very strong. I mean, the fact is, like you're saying, it's not, but the draw 3 is accompanied by being a ritual as well. This card has so many things you can do. I play it in my Tibalt deck. Tibalt's not out all the time. It's literally there to be a ritual. And then when Tibalt's out, it also draws 3 cards. The card just has so much flexibility on what it can do. I love that you can just be like, okay, late game, I don't have my commander. I like to impulse draw 3. I need to. Or I need a bunch of mana. You got 6 cards, I'll take 6 mana. Like, there's just, this card is versatile. And then when you have your commander out, the card's just great.
Yeah, we're going to do green. So maybe I'll think of what it is that I'm missing. But from Commander Legends, we had Jewel Lotus at colorless, and then we had Keeper of the Accord, Hull Breacher, Opposition Agent, Jeska's Will. What is the green, like...
Kodama.
Awesome. Oh, yep.
It's Kodama.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
Kodama's nuts. Okay.
That card's stupid.
I was trying to, I know there's a green one. What is it?
Yeah, we got one color, just bonker cards for every single color. Next, we have Warstorm Surge D. I'm not interested in this card at all. Terror of the Peaks exists.
Have you seen Impact Tremors and Purphoros?
I 100% understand at this point that Terror of the Peaks is $25. But again, not a budget video. Warstorm, put those 2 cards side by side. One's a 5/4 flyer. The other one's a poopy enchantment.
It's easier to kill the dragon, but the dragon's cheaper. And I think in most cases, it's just, we can't use the argument of, oh, it's good if you go infinite with Warstorm Surge. Because no, if you're going infinite, let's get Purphoros and Impact Tremors for like 1/3 the mana or 2/3 the mana.
Yeah.
Saving just a bunch of stuff. Purphoros is indestructible. This is just kind of too expensive.
I understand the decks where you want this is the idea of all my creatures are big giant
like a
guys.
10/10.
And every single time a guy comes down, I want it to kill something. Well, if you're playing a bunch of big giant guys, Terror of the Peaks is a big giant guy. It just fits in the deck. The synergy is unbelievable. Warstorm Surge I never was on. Like I would give it a D if Terror of the Peaks doesn't exist. But Terror of the Peaks does exist, which for me, I'm never touching this card. It's an F for me. Just me.
Here's some more disappointing math that might make it even less appealing to you. If you have Purphoros in play and you have Warstorm Surge in play, so like Warstorm Surge, all right, I'll play a 6/6. It's the same amount of damage as Purphoros. You deal 6. Purphoros deals 2/2/2. That's 6.
Oh,
like you play a 10/10, and you get to shoot 10 damage somewhere. But if you play 2 1/1s, if you play Dragon Fodder with Purphoros, he's dealing 12.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's like
Purphoros and Impact Tremors each. Wow, yeah, you're right.
It's like no contest.
Oh wow, this card is. I'm giving it an F. I'm down to F on this card. All right,
kind of like Explosive Veggies, where it does things, but you're just never going to play it.
It's so our class, like you said. If you're going with the fact that Purphoros, maybe he doesn't hit creatures, but the fact that he does as much damage, that was a mind-boggling thing I never thought about. Next we have Valakut's Awakening B+. You just want a little bit of synergy, a little bit of reason to play this, and you're in. It's great filtering. Oh, but why is this card good? You guys are talking about all those other cards. It's basically like those. Oh,
it's a land.
MDFC. It's a land on the other side.
We love MDFCs. We're never going to give an MDFC like a terrible. There's a floor so low. It's a land, turn 1, not going to end up casting it. Land, no downside.
Yeah, C plus is like the lowest I'm going to go on MDFCs. Maybe a D for like.
There's some bad ones.
For like the stupid -4 one.
Because like when it's not a choice, it's not an MDFC. You don't get the power of it. You get a tap land that like 1 in a million, like literally a million games it does something.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We want the ones where Valakut Awakening, yeah, it could be 50-50, especially when you're top decking. You're like, this could be a lifesaver.
Yeah. And last one, Tormenting Voice. We talked about it already. It's literally the exact same card, but it's a sorcery to what's the other stupid card?
Thrill of Possibility.
I couldn't even think of the name of it. I don't like those cards. They stink.
Don't bother filtering unless you have crazy synergy.
Yes, exactly. So that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. We love doing this series.
It's so much fun. It's really growing on me too.
Yeah. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys are the poopy babies.
Oh yeah.
And you guys are awesome. Thank you for all the support. You guys have no clue how much we appreciate it.
You literally have no idea. In the link there's a description though. It takes you to TCG Player. Buy the cards you were going to buy anyway because everyone buys Magic cards. When you do that through our link specifically, TCG Player gives us a pat on the back in the form of money in our pocket. You control that. And you don't have to pay anything extra. It's like a nice little way to support us when you get around to buying cards. You can use literally any link in any of our descriptions that says TCG Player.
Yes, very much appreciated. Seriously, thank you guys so much for all that. We have a Discord if you like hanging out with us, if you like hanging out with people who like us playing Commander. Discord. Head over, join the Discord, link in the description. It's a great place to be.
And what was your tidbit? Modern Horizons 2?
Modern Horizons 2, I'm nothing but excited. These cards are super cool.
Hype. Cabal Coffers is back. Dagon Blackblade's a Planeswalker.
Cabal Coffers, seriously, I know everyone loves to get on Wizard's case for like not reprinting stuff. Thank you. This is the kind of reprint we need. I mean, I'm not a big, like, obviously we talk about how boring we think the card is, but at $120, it needed a reprint. It needed it so desperately. And I know it's in a premium product. I don't care.
Could it have been rare? Easily. But you know what? It's a
No, it's fine. The fact of the matter is I understand they have a business model and they're trying to make money, and this is a chase mythic. That is fine.
Chase rare.
It's a mythic. And that is fine. I literally am not going to, unless I do, like, the only one I was ever like really mad about that was like a shift was when they put crappy graveyard hate. What was that?
Oh, Ravenous Trap.
That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That one actually annoyed me because I didn't even understand it. That was a waste of a rare slot. But like this one's like I get it. You know, you want people to buy your packs.
Long awaited.
This hasn't been reprinted since
Plane Chase in 2012.
It's so long. It's been so long. We need it. Commander players need it. Thank you for reprinting it. It's appreciated. I mean,
what else are you hyped about? I mean, there's Urza's Saga. I can't wait to talk about that card. It just looks like a free roll in like every commander deck.
I used to think it could get lands. It can't get lands. It's worded so you can get 0 or 1. It has to say 0 in the corner.
Oh, it has to say 0.
Yes, it has to say 0.
Interesting.
Or it has to say. That's why it's worded so funnily.
I mean, I think that card is already a design mistake of like you did way too many things at once. I had to like stare at this for like 10 minutes straight. I didn't even know it was a land until Cherries was like, yeah, that's really weird that it's a land. I'm like, what? I thought it was an enchantment that costs nothing.
It is a land drop that 1 just produces mana normally, and 2 can just produce 2 of the golems. Like you can just produce 2 of them. Like you make 1 on the turn that does it, and then you untap, and then you do it again before it ticks up and it's gone.
And if we got anything wrong, it's because this card is a mistake and it shouldn't have been. It's too confusing.
It's a cool design.
It's really weird.
I'm excited. I think this is really cool, and honestly, I've been interested in Modern because I think one of the reasons I've been super excited about Modern. I've been watching Spike play a lot. Aspiring Spike. Love Aspiring Spike. Shout out to him. Check out his stream. Seriously, I don't watch a ton of streamers, and I hate MTGO. Hate it, but he makes me want to play MTGO because he's always brewing. He's always trying different things, and I'm just so excited for Modern now that there's just new stuff, and events are returning to our local game stores. Oh my God, I am hyped for Modern.
All right, that's gonna be where we call it because you love to drone on for that.
Are you hyped for Modern?
I am super hyped for Modern, except I won't play it.
Oh, you're not? Oh, actually, I'll tell you after the video because this is not important at all. Peace out, Tribe Scout.